Will this be the time that I die? Hey, it's Brooke from the Junk Parlor. If you've been buying and selling vintage and antiques, then maybe you can relate to my latest picking scenario. Somehow online he had found out that I lived in Ankeny. He lives in Ankeny. They are trying to clear up his father-in-law's estate. He contacted me, shared some pictures of some bigger items, and we got it worked out where I was buying a few things, and then I was like, I would really love to come and look at the house, because what happens is I normally like to buy the things that a lot of people would just go ahead and put in the trash. It's fun to dig. If you have ever gone on a personal pick, that is kind of like some people get the joy from going to the thrift store or the antique store. And for me, my favorite place to pick is at somebody's house, because that is stuff that hasn't been touched typically. And so you really get to know about the person. Like Jim had kept probably everything, like his scrapbooks from when he was a little kid. He had all of those. He was in the Marines, I think, some military service, and he kept all of those. His family had a chicken farm. He had a lot of that stuff. He was an engineer. He worked for Fisher. It's just really fun to see all the things that they kept. He was a stamp collector, so he had lots of stamps and envelopes. And this is after the family had gone through and picked what they wanted, had taken a lot of stuff to the trash, I think had already sold some stuff. And so I don't know. It's just a lot of fun. If you have done it, then you understand what I'm talking about. If you haven't and you are a reseller, I'm telling you, a private pick is the way to go. Over the years, I have found that way of getting inventory to be the most fulfilling, because at an estate sale, you are rushing around and fighting people to get to something first. Also, the estate company has already gone through it. That might mean that they took stuff. It could also mean that they threw away stuff. Again, I typically like things that are in a garage, in a shed, in a basement, in an attic, things that maybe somebody else would throw away. That tends to be the stuff that I gravitate towards. I also used to, when I had my brick and mortar and I was doing 2 Facebook Live sales a week, I sold and I bought and sold a lot more inventory. Now I'm doing 1 monthly sale and mainly posting things on my website. So the amount of inventory that I need is a lot less. So if I still had the store and I was still selling twice a week on a live sale, I would have purchased a lot more at this estate. But this way I can take my time, I can dig through boxes, I can go fast or slow, and really kind of do whatever I want, because I'm not in competition with somebody else. The guy that took me, he was very nice and easy to work with. And my daughter, you've probably heard me talk about how she has celiacs, and it's a genetic. So Matt or I have it, maybe the other one or two of the other kids have it, but we've never officially gotten tested. So we don't know, but his entire family has celiac. So it's kind of interesting to talk to him about that as well. So he emails me, says, I'm getting rid of the stuff at my father-in-law's estate. Do you want to just ride with me? And I was like, well, if it's not weird, I will just ride with you, because that's probably an hour drive. So an hour there, an hour back. We're both leaving from the same place essentially, which really, he does live really close to me. I told my husband and he's like, that is weird. And I'm like, well, it maybe is weird, but being somebody who works from home, I don't have a lot of conversations except for conversations with myself on a video. And so I'm like, I can shoot the shit with anybody. And he likes vintage and antique stuff. So I knew an hour was not going to be that bad. And if nothing else, it would make my day go by faster. So I told my husband, here's his name, here's all the information I know about it. So if I get murdered, then you at least know who murdered me. I mean, that's all that I can say. And then he picks me up in a white minivan with tinted windows and a cage in the back. I'm not sure if I've ever shared this story on YouTube before. Maybe I have. I have a whole little section like about me, and half of them are embarrassing stories. Normally it's about me splitting my pants and showing my ass to whoever I am with. But I was telling this guy that probably the scariest pick I ever went on was one of my first, and it was a dresser at the guy had 2 dressers on Facebook Marketplace. I was just starting out reselling. All 3 kids were in car seats, and it was like an hour away. And like looking back, like why was I driving an hour for 2 dressers? I have no idea, but I was just starting out. So my mom watched the kids, and she's like, you text me as soon as you get there, and you text me when you get back in your car to come home. And I get there, it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's like a hole in the wall cabin-ish type thing surrounded by, farmland. There are hunting blinds and like targets sitting out everywhere. It looks really sketchy. So I go there, and the guy takes me down to the basement because that's where the dressers were. So this whole time I'm trying to be very conscientious of my surroundings and being assertive. And the guy was super nice, and it was not weird at all by the time, the transaction happened or whatever. So we got those loaded up. I get home, and turns out this was like a rental cabin for him. And so he rented it out to hunters, hence the way that it looked. When I got home, however, that's when it kind of got a little bit weird. He had emailed me and basically said if anything ever, he knew I was married, but if anything ever happened, he was definitely interested. So you never know what's going to happen on a pick, but I'm still here. A lot of things were found unused in their original box and empty boxes from things that they had purchased and used. So fun to go through. This tool tree was so cool. It actually gave me an idea of a DIY I can make, but it was very brittle and falling apart. So I just took the little thing they had for the tree topper. This was not what I expected. An old gingerbread house. It's gotten a little moldy from the little Smarties, but I thought it was so precious. He's got some good ones.
Oh, it's like a duffel bag.
Oh, big thick
They call it a sea bag. This is what you put all your clothes and stuff when you go onto a ship. It's dry cleaned. I think they still have them around here.
Christmas bulbs. They are glass, and I think they are German Kugel ones. Do not quiz me on pronunciation here, but they are some high dollar, heavy ones, nice tops. You can see the yellow has a little bit more damage to it than the green and the blue as far as the color is chipping away from the glass. And then this sports coat has a great interior, corduroy, and it is also a vintage one with the guy's name in it. Okay, this beauty I am probably going to keep. So it was absolutely covered in dust because it was down in his like carpentry room. This part is cast iron. It should swivel up and down, but it doesn't. It swivels, but it doesn't go up and down like it's supposed to. And it looks like there's been quite a few repairs. So 3 of the legs are decorative. That back one is smooth. This one is a decorative cross beam. The rest of them are smooth. And I'd also say it's been cut off at some point. It doesn't bother me. I still love it. But I did not really notice any of those things until I was cleaning it up. I call my wife Weather Strip because she kept me out of the draft, remarks a young husband with bad manners but a wonderful memory for jokes. This spool cabinet, I think I'm probably going to hang on to it for a while. All I did was hit it with some orange glow, which I absolutely love that stuff. The drawers are just plain and open. You can see that one of the pulls has been replaced at some point. It's broken off. So it's a little bit shorter, and then you can see the silver screw. So I'll probably try and at least replace the screw at some point so it blends in a little bit better. I did bring home this cubby because paper fits in here perfectly, an 8.5 by 11 sheet. I have a lot of scrapbookers who are always looking for ways to organize their scrapbook papers, so I thought this would be perfect.